Jake Paul is on a mission to become the biggest name in boxing, and his plan is working. One by one, he's been going through respected, even legendary fighters in combat sports, and it's become impossible to ignore. Ben Askren TKO'd, Tyron Woodley KO'd, Anderson Silva knocked down, and Nate Diaz knocked down. He's built a highlight reel that's electric, but there's one person he's been dying to add to that list: Mike Tyson. Now, the biggest criticism Jake gets is that all he does is fight old, retired fighters that are well past their prime. When he fought Anderson Silva, for example, he was 25 years old, while Silva was 47. People thought this was bad, but now he's taken it even further. In a matter of days, he'll be getting in the ring with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, a man more than double his age, and there's only one thing on his mind.
Fuck Jake Paul. Fuck Jake Paul. I like that shit. Yeah. Hey, I hope y'all keep that same energy when I knock this old man the fuck out.
The bout was officially announced on March 7th, 2024. At the time, all we were told was that it would be held in the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, which has a capacity of around 100,000 people, and that it would be streamed live on Netflix, marking the streaming platform's first ever live boxing event. But that in itself was enough to tell you the fight would do outrageous numbers.
We all know how many people have Netflix. It's going to be so accessible, and therefore the views will be insane.
On the day of the announcement, Jake uploaded a trailer to promote the fight on his YouTube channel, parodying many of Mike's most iconic moments, and the like to dislike ratio on the video says a lot. He wouldn't be fighting Mike when Mike was the same age. Bro's in his 20s fighting a 60-year-old to prove himself. These are the type of comments that might get in someone's head, but for Jake it's just fuel. For him, the only thing that matters is Tyson's name and legacy, not his age. Following his fight with Nate Diaz, he fought two guys with much smaller profiles, and even though he knocked them both out, there was nowhere near as much interest from the public. He knew he needed to come back in a big way, and what better way than fighting one of the biggest ever names in the sport. This actually isn't the first time we've seen a YouTuber take on a boxing legend, because Jake's own brother Logan fought Floyd Mayweather back in 2021, as did Deji Olatunji in 2022. Both these fights were exhibitions, meaning it didn't count to any of their professional records and was more so for entertainment, and the assumption was Jake and Mike's fight would be the same. At the beginning of April, Mike confirmed this to be the case, but made it clear it wouldn't be any ordinary exhibition match.
This is called an exhibition, but if you look up exhibition, you will not see any of the laws that we're fighting under. This is a fight, and this guy's gonna come, he's gonna try to hurt me, which I'm accustomed to, and he's gonna be greatly mistaken.
If there's any man pushing 60 who can strike fear into you with that statement, it's Mike Tyson. In his day, he was an absolute animal. Most know he was a vicious fighter who dominated people in the ring, but it was his mindset that was truly terrifying. He wanted more than anything to decapitate his opponents, and his intense stare and menacing aura would break fighters before they even stepped foot in the ring.
I'm a fucking student of war. I know all the warriors from Charlemagne, Achilles, the #1 warrior of all warriors. From there, Alexander, Napoleon, I know them all. I read them all, I studied them all. I know the art of fight, I know the art of war. That's all I ever studied. That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because that's all I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss because sometimes I feel like a bitch. Because I don't want that person to come out.
Now, after so many years, it feels like we're getting glimpses of the Tyson of old. After the fight was announced, he began posting training footage on social media, and he still looked powerful and ferocious.
Yes, sir, that's the one.
Day 4, it was okay, but you don't know what you got in store, baby. You gotta face the God of War. And get ready, baby. Fire's in the house.
He seemed to be taking the fight very seriously, because on top of his strict training regime, he stopped smoking and having sex.
For 2.5 weeks, I haven't smoked. I haven't had sex for 2.5 weeks. I've been doing the whole.
He was getting more and more irritable and nasty, like he used to in the past.
But as the fight gets closer, the less nervous I become, because it's reality. And in reality, I'm invincible.
On April 29th, it was reported that Jake and Mike's fight had officially been sanctioned as a professional bout. Mike posted a tweet saying, "I wasn't joking when I said this would be a real fight. See you in July at Jake Paul."
I just want to make it clear that Mike Tyson was the one who wanted it to be a pro fight. And I said to Nikisa, if that's what Mike wants, then that's fine. But make sure you tell Mike that there's no holding back. Whatever happens, happens, and this is war now. And if Mike's okay with that, then I'm okay with that. But I want Mike to be the one making this decision because I respect him as the legend. And if he puts me down, I can deal with that. But if I put him down, he needs to be the one making the decision on whether or not he can deal with that. But yes, I'm going in there, and now it's a pro fight. It's on my record, and I'm going to fucking put him down. And if people are pissed about it, then watch soccer.
Despite being sanctioned as a pro fight, the terms they agreed are unusual. For one, they'll be using 14-ounce gloves instead of the standard 10-ounce, which will definitely limit punching power and therefore the likelihood of a knockout. Secondly, the fight will consist of 8 2-minute rounds, unlike a standard pro fight which has 3-minute rounds and more of them.
There seems to be some discrepancy as to who wanted the modified rules with the bigger gloves, shorter rounds. Could both of you address that?
I wanted the shorter rounds because I wanted more action. If we only have 2 minutes, we'll fight more. It's any more action.
Now these fight rules are strange, but I think most people can live with them. What's much harder to digest is that the fight will go in both their professional records. Jake has a lot more to gain here, there's no doubt about it. Mike's legacy is cemented, whether he fights again or not, but Jake is still in the process of building his. Imagine the scenario where Jake Paul, a YouTuber and former Disney kid, gets a win over the Mike Tyson on his record. It would be madness. Then imagine if he won the fight by knockout. That image would live in people's minds forever. Whether we like it or not, a loss here would put a stain on Mike's legacy. Yet if Mike wins, it wouldn't mean all that much. Sure, it would show that he's still that guy even at his age, but ultimately, a win over Jake Paul is nothing to write home about. With that being said though, it's not all upside for Jake. Over the years he's been boxing, he's built up this sort of villain persona, feeding off the hate he gets to draw more and more eyeballs to his fights. I'd bet half or even 3/4 of the people that watch his fights are just hoping to see him get knocked out, but to him it's irrelevant as long as they're paying to see it. This situation though is different. Mike Tyson is a treasure in the fight community, especially for older generations. If Jake goes in there and flatlines a 58-year-old Tyson, he could be hated in the combat sports world forever. This is very different to getting hate from 15-year-old kids online, because whether he admits it or not, Jake craves recognition and respect in the fight game, and a knockout win over Mike would make many resent him forever.
Jake, if you knock out the biggest legend in boxing of all time, do we think the hate goes up or down? You know, so I don't get the upside for Jake in this.
I mean, how old is Mike Tyson? 60?
57.
57. Jake Paul.
27.
You are a disgrace of a man. You are the epitome of weakness. You are the scum of the earth. The fact that you even have a platform or anything of that nature is a slight on society. You truly make me fucking disgusted. And if I ever encounter you in real life, I hope that I just don't lose my shit and go to prison.
The worrying thing is, a knockout for Jake is a possibility. As good as Mike is, he's an old man at this point, and his body simply isn't what it once was. Just 2 years ago in 2022, Mike was seen using a cane to help him walk, and even worse, he was spotted getting around in a wheelchair.
The other day I saw a picture of you, you were in a wheelchair. What was that all about?
Oh, I have sciatica every now and then. It flares up, and when it flares up, I can't even talk.
The videos we've seen of him look good in the sense that his power and speed are still there, but they're short clips that don't give an accurate picture of how he'd perform in a real fight. I mean, there's a reason the fight will be 8 2-minute rounds, and it's not just so there's more action.
And why is it going to be 8 2-minute rounds? Why is it not 3-minute rounds? Because one of the fighters is 58 fucking years old. So we've got to change the rules to give him a chance, haven't we? And if you've got to do that, well then it's not a fair fight, is it? And if it's not a fair fight, should it be sanctioned by a commission? Exactly. But as we all know, money talks.
In a press conference for the fight, Mike admitted himself that his body is struggling to keep up with the demands of his training.
How is the training camp going? Because we see the 30-second clips with Rafael Cordero and your whole team, but could you give us a little more insight into how things are going?
I'm doing great, but my body is shit right now. I'm sore, I'm really sore.
I think you're playing possum.
No, I wish.
Given all of this, many people's prediction for the fight has been that Jake takes it.
The only thing I'm worried about is Father Time. That's one thing that has never been beat. And Tyson's, he's older now. I pray that he comes out healthy, but I think Jake Paul because of youth.
Jake Paul's the type of person that I think he would love nothing more than to be able to say I knocked out Mike Tyson and blah, 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 blah. So I'm quite worried for Mike Tyson, but let's see.
At this point in the build-up, Netflix had begun ramping up the promotional content as the fight was just a couple months away. However, out of nowhere, worrying news emerged about Mike's health. He suffered a scary medical emergency while on a flight from Miami to LA. It was reported that he became nauseous and dizzy due to an ulcer flare-up 30 minutes before landing. Paramedics boarded and took care of him, and thankfully he turned out okay. But of course, it put into question whether the fight would still go ahead. The very next day, Mike posted on Twitter saying, "Now feeling 100%, even though I don't need to be to beat Jake Paul." However, just 3 days on from that, Netflix released a statement saying, "Unfortunately, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will not face off on July 20th as planned. Tyson's recent ulcer flare-up has limited his ability to train fully for the next few weeks. The fight will be rescheduled for a date later this year, after Mike's able to resume training with no limitations, and both fighters can have equal time to prepare for this once-in-a-lifetime matchup." Jake posted a video reacting to the situation, clearly upset.
Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, like gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event, the whole undercard. But Mike, if you want to do this, like you said, behind closed doors, behind the scenes, you've said you want to do this in Q4. You just need a little bit of time, so I'm ready whenever you are. This is too big of an opportunity.
Just a week later, a new fight date of November 15th was agreed, and Mike sent Jake this message.
Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
While waiting for the new date, Jake fought mixed martial artist and bare-knuckle boxer Mike Perry, which turned out to be a snooze fest because Perry hardly put up a fight. You could tell people are getting fed up with Jake having boring, one-sided fights, and I'm sure he felt it. His career needed a pick-me-up, and luckily for him, promotion for his fight with Mike started back up again. During their new press conference, Mike was calm, composed, and sparing in his use of words. Jake, on the other hand, was really going at him.
You had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?
I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better. Be in shape. Be in good shape because your health depends on it.
Hey, you're the one that wanted 8 2-minute rounds. You want to make it 10 threes? Don't talk to me about shape. Don't talk to me about shape.
Jake was trying his best to embarrass Mike, but it didn't seem to faze him one bit. Just a couple days after this, Mike appeared on the Impulsive podcast, which is hosted by Jake's brother, Logan. The episode was a tough watch, because throughout it, it came across like they were insulting Mike, but playing it off as a joke. The way Logan was talking to him showed a lack of respect, but like he did with Jake, Mike just brushed it off.
Mike, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love you, Mike.
Same.
And I'm very nervous for you.
Thank you for caring.
I do care. I care about you, and I care about my brother, and I know the path he's on right now, and it's ruthless, Mike.
I agree. It's pretty cool.
It's cool. It's so cool to watch, and he's really crushing it. And I just feel like I want you to be okay in there, Mike. And I want you got to take him serious, Mike, because I
take him extremely serious. I take him extremely serious. These people don't take him serious.
No, they don't, and it's such a mistake because he's a real killer. Mike, like he wanted to be a Navy SEAL before he started boxing. Like in high school, he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to go kill people on behalf of his country.
Mike actually showed Jake respect and didn't fire back at Logan, even though Logan was clearly patronizing him.
And this is what I learned through my 58 years of experience. What my experience is that anyone's capable of killing you. In my life and the way I lived my life and what I've seen, anyone's capable of killing you. So you should be apprehensive for anyone.
I think that's how you have to go into this fight. What do I know, but I just know Jake, man, and like, I just want to make sure you're okay.
Well, I'm gonna be splendid.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate you worrying.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good night, man. I care.
Credit to Mike for handling that so calmly. A little later, Logan's co-host made a good point, which I spoke about earlier, regarding the consequences for Jake taking this fight.
If something happens to Uncle Mike, it's not going to be fun, dude. People are going to be angry. It's almost like a weird duality for Jake, where if he loses, it's problematic, but if he beats Uncle Mike hard and beats him up, like that's a problem too.
This still came across as patronizing to say to Mike's face, but it is a valid point. I feel like at this stage, Mike's done with all the trash talking and is ready to let his fists do the talking. Yes, he's older, yes, his body isn't the same, but all it takes is one clean punch and he'll have Jake out of there. Given the health problems he's had in recent times, a lot of people are definitely underestimating him, but those closest to him appear to have a very different view.
This is the strongest I've ever seen you.
Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impressed the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't lie. I was worried about him traveling here, traveling there. He's not getting. I can sleep now at night. This is great.
It's true that Mike looks in great shape, and from what he's been saying, he feels anything but his age.
I don't think I'm 58. Do you think I feel 58? When I'm fighting them young niggas in the gym and they're bashing me, them big strong motherfuckers, and I'm bashing them back. You think I feel 58? You think they're not trying to hurt me in that gym?
Yeah.
So they can get a reputation?
Yeah.
Young 30, 28-year-old motherfuckers.
Yeah.
No, they ain't getting nothing.
He's still terrifying when he wants to be, that's for sure. The fight is just around the corner now, and whatever happens, it will go down in history. As much as people hate Jake, and how wrong it is that he's fighting someone so much older, you gotta respect how he's managed to go from being a Disney kid and cringy YouTuber, to stepping in the ring with one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. Mike is a legend in the sport, and to see him fight one more time will be a treat for all of us. You can tell he's been itching to get back in the ring, and despite the circumstances, it's nice he has that opportunity. We'll see if he delivers on the night and finally puts an end to Jake Paul.